drive, we spend most of our time complaining about stuff. Now, if I can come to you, Mr. Damfa, we did a feature last week where we spoke to you, we interviewed you. It was raining quite heavily, and you guided us through some of the problems that we encounter on the road. And I just wondered, one of the things that you said, which resonated with many people, was that you said that there's a paradigm shift. And you said that we're no longer going to build roads without drainage. A lot of people were shocked, like, what, you mean we used to build roads without drainage? But I just wondered if you could expand on that particular.
Yeah, first and foremost, I think I just want to take this opportunity to thank the Gambia government for the paradigm shift. Historically, if you look at most of the roads, either the drainage system is such a way that it's not shoot for purpose or it's not there.
Sure.
But just drive from Yundum Airport, you know, to a turntable.
In a straight line.
In a straight line. You will realize that now there is a complete paradigm shift. Now, instead of government only building roads, they now try to attach a drainage system.
So they're incorporating
They
a drainage.
incorporated the drainage system. And one one important thing I just also want to highlight, that now with NRA we have a hydraulics engineer, which makes a complete
difference, of course.
This will actually address some of the flooding landscape that we used to experience in this country. I think that's a plus. So I want to thank the Gambia government, and as well as I want to thank my colleague, National Road Authority, for kind of thinking
for coming on board with that.
On board with that
paradigm shift. Mr. Sumare Janet, now we heard there, and as we're talking, viewers can see some of the conditions that people have to put up with. And we've just heard there about the fact that you now have a hydraulics engineer. So what else can we expect? I mean, for those of us who are in the sort of Banjul and the greater Banjul, you know, we feature this a lot. But this is a national thing, and it's a nationwide thing. So across the country, what can people expect?
Changes. Great changes.
Okay.
And as Mr. Dahab clearly outlined, the days of building roads and virtually not giving it all the due consideration that it requires from a technical standpoint, consider that gone.
Yeah, I must admit, as somebody who grew up in Sierra Leone, first time I came here, I'm like, what's going on? Why are there no gutters? Why are there no drains? I was shocked. And so I'm glad to hear that this is now, as you said, great changes, because I think this is what people need and deserve.
Well, that's what exposure is all about. That's what education, should virtually, help, change in a sense. And, thanks to the Gambia government, they, virtually saw the need to recruit professionals, Gambian professionals, who are experienced in this field but have been working outside of the Gambia, and decided, to bring us back to the Gambia, to help, in this sector, which is a great need. And to us, it is actually, a great pleasure, really having to come back home and contribute towards the development of the country. I mean, I am, a professional engineer in the United States of America. Have been working in there, for the past 25 years. And this is my first time coming back to the Gambia, and I'm a hydraulics expert. I mean, I've built dams, levees, reservoirs in the U.S. That are, great projects. Only problem is, I could not pick those and bring them to the Gambia for the benefit of my people. But now that we are here, I mean, as Mr. Dahab clearly outlined, you will see some serious changes, on the way we design and build roads in the Gambia. Drainage is not just a simple component of road, but it is actually a vital component of it. It is what is necessary, to sustain the life of the road. As you realize, in the Gambia, there's been several times, that we built roads, and they wouldn't even last, a quarter of the lifespan that's expected of the road, simply because we haven't put proper considerations in place. Case in point, drainage is one of them. And there are different types of drainages. It's not just a question of, gutters are the only types of drainage.
Many.
There are many more. And there are much more effective types. And we will be employing some of those types in the Gambia. I mean, there's a reason, why if you ever travel, to the west, if it rains, after 5 minutes, all the water will disappear. People wouldn't even have a clue, where the water went to. But it's going somewhere, obviously. Only difference is not the people's houses. Okay, so if you're creating drainage, it's not just about creating the drainage. You're creating drainage to discharge water away from the road to where.
Exactly.
It's a good point,
yeah, sure. Mr. Mana, if I could come to you. We'll come to some of those topics, but I wanted to involve all of you one by one. Because one of the things, we've just heard about maintaining the roads and the conditions of the roads. One of the things that I complain about loudly on TV, on radio, is about potholes, about maintaining the roads. When I first came to the Gambia, there's a road that leads from our building here through Manjai, and I came and I saw they were sort of patching the potholes, and I thought, oh, this is quite impressive. It was impressive until it rained. And when it rained, they were as bad or worse than they've ever been. And I have to say, this current rain season, from Tippa Garage straight up to Sukuta traffic light, that road is the worst I've ever seen it. Why do we allow these roads to get into such a state, and what are we going to do about it in the future?
Well, thank you for your question, and of course we all are living witnesses to whatever happening in Gambia. The roads that you just mentioned, the Manjai and the Westfield Sukuta road, virtually like the bossman said, lack of drains contribute a lot of damages on the road surface. And actually these roads, I mean, there are no drains on this road. Manjai doesn't have a proper drainage system. Likewise, the Serekunda Sukuta road. Serekunda Sukuta road, of course, the potholes, of course, will come out.
Yeah, but
you know, because why they're coming up the road, these roads are serving as drainages as well.
Right.
If you're traveling, if it's raining from Sukuta, let's say from Johnson Bar or somewhere, coming towards the Tipagari where we have the main culvert, the road is equally serving as a drainage.
Yes.
So where water is constantly on the road pavement, of course the potholes will emerge. Sure. And it's difficult during the rains, as it's raining, and fixing up those potholes. Sure. Because water there is wet, water has a penetration through the potholes. Sure. Obviously will settle down. Anything that you put on that pothole will not hold. Sure. So that is the difficulties that we are facing. Basically, going there and coming here, those roads doesn't have a drainage system. Sure. That's why during the dry season it's difficult to detect some of those things, exactly, because we have a fully fledged maintenance unit. Sure. And based in Bakau, those are responsible for fixing these emerging and old potholes on the road each time. Sure. But when it's raining like now, sure, it's difficult. Right now we have even an issue from the Westfield towards the Tabokoto end. Sure. What we're trying to do there, our guys are coming at night because of the traffic. Sure. And we're using quick concrete so that it dries off before the daybreak. Then the people can start using it. But after the rains, that's where we are coming up to fix it permanently, to do away from those
viewers.
potholes.
I hope you're listening. Fix it permanently. Lolly, did you want to ask anything?
Yes, just that this is a good initiative. We must commend you for coming up with such an idea. So our concern is, how long will it take to build this? Will it happen soon? Because, you know, we can't wait for next year rainy season to come and
we're
start
dreading
going
next year already.
Yeah, so how long are we talking about here?
You know, how soon, because you said change is coming, how soon can we expect that change to come?
Change is always good, but change is not always drastic.
Sure, sure.
Change is gradual, isn't it, right? So we're gradually effecting change. You know, the government has seen the need to really invest in us. Not just the country, sure, but as an arm of government, which is NRA. Sure. We're the technical arm of government, and government has been investing a lot in roads, but in the past years haven't really invested much in NRA.
Right, right.
Now, you'll be surprised to know Mr. Manning just made mention of our maintenance team in Bakau that's tasked to handle most of these pothole repairs, and they don't even have proper equipment. I mean, or let's call a spade a spade. They don't even have equipment for that matter. A lot of people think about NRA and think that, you know, we
I'm
are.
glad you said it and I didn't, because I would be accused of something.
Well,
No, but I'm glad it came
Yeah.
from it, because one of the things that, I mean, you mentioned that, I mean, our colleagues around, they said, you know, when we were coming, they said, please ask them about the Bundung Road. That's like the worst road ever.
And every year is the same thing at Bundung. Every
And
year.
so I must ask you about that, you know, if you
Well,
could just include that in the conversation.
You know, no, I will.
Yeah,
and,
please.
you know, Bundung is actually a major concern to me, because I don't like, you know, what's going on in Bundung, but we've actually tasked the contractor to intervene, and I don't know if you've been over there the past couple of days, you know, but they've actually started working on it.
Okay, right.
And they've actually, you know, cleared most of the potholes, you know, in there, and, you know, backfilled, you know,
Right.
quite a few of it. But not much can be done at this point because of the rainy season.
Sure.
But they've actually started, you know, doing something on it.
Okay.
You know, now, you know, just going back to it, you know, I mean, road construction and road maintenance requires such a heavy investment that it is not something, you know, that we can just, you know, virtually, you know, wrapping and just, you know, roll, you know, under the carpet all the time and thinking that, you know, it's going to work. No.
Right.
This is something, you know, that we really need to take serious.
Sure,
And the fact of the matter is, you know, if we want to take the development of this country serious,
sure.
everybody, all Gambians need to take NRA serious and invest in NRA.
Sure.
Then those of us, you know, that are properly, you know, trained to come over here, you know, including the Bakari and all these guys right here, we can execute.
Sure.
You
Now,
cannot, you know, give us, you know, the mandate, you know, to do such a huge task,
and then you don't.
and then you know,
Have the
provide us, you know, with the
resources, yeah.
ability,
Yeah, okay.
case in point, equipment
Sure.
to execute.
It's like they said, you send somebody out to play cricket and you tie his hands and you don't give him a bat.
Exactly, and
So-
don't give them a back.
Difficult
You know,
to
so you know, it's
yeah.
impossible.
Sure. Okay.
So the reality is, you know, the know-how is here.
Sure. Now, I wanted to pick up on something else, because I like the fact that you've come with this know-how. For the last 4 years, I've been attending the convocation at the University of the Gambia, and I just wondered if I could throw a task to you to go to the university, speak to the students there, and try and encourage some of them to get into this field, because we need Gambians to do this work, not always having to import foreigners to come and do it. You are Gambian, they've had to call you back. But if you go to the university, there's virtually nobody who's
Interested
in this field. Or
because
you know, we have 115 people qualifying as lawyers, 130 qualifying as accountants. I think we need engineers of your type much more than we need those people. Nothing against lawyers. I trained to be a lawyer at one point, so you know, there's no bias.
I mean, that's actually an excellent point, and you know, that's one of the things, you know, that I'm very, very, you know, keen on. That's training.
Sure.
But the fact of the matter is, you know, most of the students, you know, that attend the university end up coming to NRA for the training,
Right.
field experience, you know, and you know, maybe, you know, a little bit more, you know, professional and specific, you know, training in the field of engineering. I want to encourage that, but to tell you the truth,
Sure.
at this stage, where we are as NRA, we are actually doing a lot of internal restructuring,
Okay.
and that's virtually, you know, occupying a lot of my time, me personally.
Okay.
You know, because I mean, we have to help them understand the need and what the change is about,
Okay.
and what areas they're going to target as an institution
Sure.
that will help the country first
Sure. Exactly.
handle the projects, you know, that we have, you know, currently. There are lots of lapses and lots of deficiencies
Sure.
in projects that are currently going on. So we're trying to fix those internally.
Sure.
Fixing those, you know, would actually, you know, push us, you know, to look at other areas.
Sure.
It would actually, you know, dictate our need to hire more engineers and technicians.
Sure.
That will lead us to the university.
Sure. Great.
And you'll be surprised
I'm
that,
glad to hear that.
Yeah.
yeah, no, I mean, you know, it's
Yeah,
a strategic,
Of course.
you
yeah.
know, solution. It is not a
It's
one
not- you don't
time.
rush into it.
No,
yeah.
no, no, there's
You
certain
plan
things-
it. Yeah.
A lot of people seem to think that I rush into things, no, a lot.
No.
No. I am determined to accomplish things. I was trained to accomplish things
Sure.
within a set timeline.
Sure.
Not just to sit back and say, you know, okay, we just allow the system, you know, to roll as it is. No.
Sure.
To effect change, you know, we have to get hands on
Sure.
and get it done. And right now, that's where we are. Now, to get back to the point of you know, training engineers at the university and all, this is something, you know, that we will have to do
Sure.
because we need them. We need them.
Okay.
Right now, you know, NRA, you know, we actually have more engineers than any other institution in this country, which we are supposed to.
Sure.
But we can be training more engineers as well too, or aspiring engineers.
Sure.
They just have to be, you know, graduate engineers, but technicians, you know, as well, you know, who can come up the ranks
Sure.
and will virtually get that field experience and understand what it is that needs to be done,
Sure.
how it needs to be done, and why.
Right. Sure. Thank
So
you
you
very
know,
much.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a moving process.
Sure.
We're gradually getting there.
Sure.
I mean, you can understand and see some of the changes that Mr. Dahaba,
Sure.
you know, have been so pleased with over time. And
Sure. So there are a couple of things. Mr. Mane, I'll be coming to you about the cows and animals on the road.
No.
But before I do, if I can come to Mr. Dahaba.
Yeah? The cows belong to you.
I mean,
cow and animals.
well, this is it. I
Yeah.
mean, Mr. Dahaba, you and your organization, NDMA, you're very much the face
Yes.
that the public sees, not just you physically, but your organization, when disaster happens, when we have flooding. I just wondered if you could just update us on some of what you've had to deal with this year and last year, and maybe the difference that you've seen, because I'm assuming that we would have learned some lessons from last year, employed some of them this year, but what are the differences and what are the major things that the NDMA has had to deal with this year?
Okay, thank you very much. You see, water is the most compelling element in this world.
Sure.
You either allow it to take its natural course, or it will find a way out.
Sure.
This is what we have recognized. So prior to the rainy season, once the NDMA received the JAS report, which is July, August, and September,
Sure.
we invited the stakeholders and sensitized them so that they will also go and sensitize the public.
Sure.
In addition to that, what we did is we did what we call drain cleaning, just to allow free flow of water.
Sure.
We did 1,500 meters at Bakau, clean the drains.
Right.
Ibo Town, 1,000 meters, and Brikama.
These are horror spots in case anybody doesn't know.
Brikama, 2,000 meters, and also with the council we did Kotu Stream as well as Joshua, and we embark on what we call Operation No Flooding in Banjul. You can see not a single disaster victim in Banjul, thanks to the Honorable Vice President. That was his, in addition to his function, that was his engineering skill. Because
and if people don't believe us, go and look at last year's reports that we did in Banjul.
Yes.
The same period this
last year we had something like 93,000.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the flooding impacts on the population. But this year, we are at 19,118. It's just this morning that's updated to 21,000. So look at almost 80% achievement. I think that's a big plus to the government of the Gambia.
And it's worth mentioning.
Congratulations to the Vice President. This was actually his initiative during the last governing council meeting. We really want to thank him.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Mr. Mane, I did warn you that I would be coming. And the reason is it's a much talked about aspect of driving around, particularly Greater Banjul. And ironically, the day after we did a story, I saw that one of the cows had actually been struck by a vehicle. And in fact, they had put the sort of trident where there's usually an accident to warn people so that they would also not run into that animal. So there are hazards on the roads. What is being done about them? And I guess it's a joint responsibility. But for a lot of people, they think the police, they think the NRA. So what can we expect?
Well, to start with, I think let me be specific here where those cows are seen regularly. That is our newly undergoing construction, the Batin Hadin Highway. From Old Yundumo right away to Senegambia, you see
Because I live near Old Yundum.
You see them enjoying the surface of our roads. You know, don't call them my cows. In fact, if I have a place to take them, I would have. Actually, the National Roads Authority, like I said, this road particularly is under construction, and the presence of these animals on the road is the contractor, not only the motorist, but the contractor also is finding very difficult because, you know, we're working with the heavy duty equipment. And of course, their lives also matter. We ran a lot of publicity or whatsoever to tell the public, whoever owns these animals, you take them away from the. In fact, there are deadlines even coming from our other partners, the police. They also run the same thing. But up to today, up to as I'm speaking, they're still on the road. What we did is there's an association responsible. They call Livestock Farmers Association. We engage those ones. Right now we are in conversation with them. We engage them. We call them last. Even the Security Council, where my boss went to attend, they were also called there to get the best way of handling this, because I understood now we don't have anybody coming to say I am the owner or whatsoever. Now the government has to come in to get a place for them, and where they will be moved to a safer place, so that the motorists and the people, all road users, will be safe using this road. So that's where we are now. We are about to get a place, move them completely.
Mr. Suarajan, Mr. Marijane, you wanted to comment?
Yeah, let me just add a little bit onto what Mr. Mane has said on that.
Sure.
We, as he clearly indicated, we had a meeting at the National Security Council in Banjul, and it involves all stakeholders, and your friends were there too. The police and the Cattle Farmers Association, the president, they all came in. And they actually indicated to us that they know the owners of all the cattle on the road. And it was instructed that they should notify the owners to remove their cattle. They were given a week. And after the week, a press release is actually coming out either by the end of this week or early part of next week, whereby they will give a deadline. And if they don't abide by the so-called deadlines, then they will be forced to remove those cattle out of the way. Meaning that the police will have to come in, or the soldiers, and get them out of the way, and wherever they are taken to, there will be a fine. And it's going to be a very hefty fine. So I would also love to seize this opportunity. To seize this opportunity to literally let them know that you need to remove your cattle out of the road. If not, if the government have to remove it out of the road for you, you will be hit with a very hefty fine. And that's actually the way forward. So, of course, you're going to just jump out and, tell people that you're going to remove their cattle by force, without giving them the ability or the opportunity to come out and do what's right for themselves. So that's where we are on that.
Yes, just that we await for the deadline and see what next, because, it's really causing danger on the roads. We spoke to drivers, and they've stated their concern. It's a serious concern. So we can't wait to see the police take action or the soldiers take action. Because for me alone, I don't think the owner will definitely come out to
after all this time.
After all this time, because it has been there for many years.
You have to give them the
opportunity too. And I am also in support of the fine. Because sometimes you have to teach people a lesson. Because it's not right to leave your cattle on the road or animals. It has been said times without numbers that it is not. It's a highway. We're building this. It's not even good for the country. It doesn't tell well. So I think I'm in support of the police stating a fine. So whoever owns this car, you better be ready for it. Yes.
And you can just imagine if we had all the heads of state come here for the OIC conference. And
you have to wait for the for the cattle to move before you could go. What if you're in an emergency situation? It's really not telling well, definitely.
Because of course these animals don't respect.
They don't. When I was doing this story, I would myself have to come down to the car and be like, Asha, Asha. They wouldn't even look at me. I'm like, my goodness. So, it's about time that they put a fine and take drastic action against these things on our road. Because it's not only the cattle. You see dogs, you see donkeys. And, the dog they live on the roads, it's also not, nice.
Mr. Dahaba, if I could come to you. There was one thing again that you said when we interviewed you that resonated with me, and this is about the public taking responsibility. We can say government haven't done this, government haven't done that, but if I'm in a vehicle, I finish my AFRA, I wrap up the piece of paper and I throw it, I'm contributing to the rubbish on the side. Please, let's appeal. If you could just tell us about some of the things, because you mentioned it with some passion when we interviewed you.
Yeah, you are right. I think in as much as government is addressing the issue of disaster management and governance, the public has to take responsibility. The biggest challenge in this country is enforcement and compliance. We all know that. There is already an existing anti-littering law, but who respects it? Who is implementing it? These are some of the issues. Waste is very serious in this country. You go anywhere, you see indiscriminate dumping of waste. Go just to their just fly over. Underneath, people started dumping rubbish. The other day I was just there. People started dumping, even though it's not even completed. People started dumping rubbish. So this is a big challenge. I think the council has to cooperate with government, but in any country, when it comes to waste management, it's the responsibility of the council. We all know it.
Of course.
You know, so the council has to work with government so that we address the issue of those waste in this country. And then the population has to be cooperative to be able to address the issue of waste in this country. So that's a big issue. If you look at what happened at Churchilltown that day, it's as a result of blockage. Water, once you like I keep saying, is the most compelling element. You either allow it to take its natural course, or it will find means of finding a way. And this is what's causing some of this flooding in this country.
Sure. So one of the things that I'm always banging on about, I mentioned to Mr. Soumaré Janneh, I said, going to the universities and so on. What about civic education with the schools, with our colleges, to actually bring up citizens who actually would never think twice even about throwing something. They would hold on to their rubbish. Are we doing that sort of thing? We
are doing sensitization. You see, this country, unless you go through a litigation process, people would never listen. I can tell you that for free. We have, since when we use all the community radios, we use everything. Unless you come up with litigation measures, obviously, the people would not respect. You see, another fundamental problem in this country is social connection. If somebody throws a litter, you report the person to the police. The next minute, the parents will start calling you. Social connection is negatively impacting on development process in this country. That's the problem. Like if you caught somebody on doing a traffic offense, the next minute you stand, a crowd of people will Balal, leave him, please, I beg you. So when shall we graduate from that? These are some of the challenges that the government is facing. Social connection, I can tell you, is impacting negatively in the development process in this country. These are some of the challenges.
Thank you for that. So there you are, viewers. We've dealt with the roads in some detail, and I would like to thank Mr. Sana Dahaba from the NDMA, Mr. Soumaré Janneh from the NRA, and Mr. Bakary Manneh also from the NRA. Gentlemen, thank you. I've learned a lot, and I'm quite enthused. I hope my enthusiasm will still be as strong next year. But thank you for coming. And at this point, we'll take a break. And after the break, we'll be looking at a very important China-Gambia deal that's just been signed. Don't go away. Join us after this break.
Technology has always been at the forefront of our lives, and the way we use it has evolved drastically over the years. With the advent of 5G internet, we are entering a new era of technological innovation that promises to transform the way we live, work, and play. 5G internet is capable of providing data speeds up to 100 times faster than 4G, making it the ideal solution for streaming high-quality videos, playing online games, and downloading large files on the go. 5G internet is already transforming cities across the globe, powering smart cities, self-driving cars, and virtual reality experiences that were once thought impossible. 5G internet is also paving the way for Internet of Things, allowing for seamless connectivity between devices and the creation of a truly connected world. For the first time in the Gambia, QCell is bringing tomorrow's technology to you today with the launch of QCell 5G Internet. Get ready to experience the out-of-this-world wonders of QCell's 5G Internet. For more information, call 111. QCell. We innovate, others follow.
The future is now with QCell's 5G network. Experience speeds like never before with our new 5G Rocket Fixed Internet plan. Get speeds from 10 Mbps to 100 Mbps. Your 5G-enabled devices. Walk into QCell headquarters to get one of our 5G routers and experience the true feeling of 5G. Only with QCell. QCell brings you the future. Tech innovation. Incredible speed. The future is now. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyabus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
QCell brings you the future with our ultimate bundles. Enjoy the best voice and data bundle plans in one package. Get unlimited data packages with flexible validity and enjoy what true internet feels like. Get 30 minutes of on-net and off-net calls with 5 gigabytes of data for just $350. Or get bigger bundle packages from 10 gigabytes to 20 gigabytes with over 100 on-net and off-net voice calls and enjoy the fastest internet speed in the Gambia. You can also buy 1-day, 3-day or even 7-day packages and enjoy unlimited data bundles with uncapped speeds. Just dial *343# today and experience the limitless capabilities of the QCell network. *343# should be your favorite code to dial now. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell. We innovate, others follow.
Step into the Espas Motors showroom for your luxurious name brand vehicle. Located along the Bertil Harding Highway, Espas Motors is the Gambia's authorized dealer for Chery, Kia, Ford, and now we bring you the new Peugeot Model 3008 SUV. 18-inch alloy wheels, 216 inches high ground clearance, keyless entry system, start and stop button, rear parking assistance system with reverse camera, adaptive cruise control with speed limit, LED daytime running lights, front and side airbags, 8-inch HD touchscreen. Not to forget our exquisite Peugeot Landtrek double cabin pickup with 2.1-liter diesel engine, 6-speed manual transmission 4x4, hill descent control, LED daytime running lights. Espas Motors, the authorized dealer for Peugeot. Visit us today or call us on 35-2222.
Welcome back after that break. You are watching This Morning here on QTV. I'm Ari Darami, pretending to be Geneva Sonko, and I have
Lolly Camera pretending to be
Ibram
Mr. Bradley.
Abale.
Yes.
So,
just for today.
But we're trying to be ourselves throughout the program. Just before the break there, we had colleagues from NRA and also NDMA, and we were talking about conditions on our roads, animals, what happens when it rains and so on. In this segment, a completely different story. There's recently been an agreement signed between the Gambia and the People's Republic of China. And it's on duty-free, free duty on market preferences that we are going to benefit from. And here to tell us all about that, I have Mr. Lamin Damfa, PermSec at the Ministry of Trade. Mr. Damfa, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Now, we did this story and we were quite excited by it. And I just wondered if you could take us through the deal and what it will mean for the Gambia.
Yes, thank you, and thank you for having me. This is a very important deal for the Gambia. This is a market preference that China has extended to least developed countries.
Including ourselves.
Yeah, this started in 2005, and all the countries that have a good diplomatic relations with China, you know, and their LDCs, you know, post or benefit from this preference. And you know, China is a massive market.
Of course, huge.
And yes, big market, and also China is increasingly becoming a very important trading partner for the Gambia.
Of course.
Most of our products that we export, particularly agricultural produce, you know, are exported to Chinese market.
Okay.
You know, despite we don't enjoy these preferences, goods are still finding their ways to the Chinese market.
Somebody watching will be saying, well, what sort of goods do we currently export to China, and what else could be included that's not already being exported to China?
we export groundnut to China, to a third country, because we don't have that preference. And we also sesame, you know, we mangoes, you know, and so many other produce that we export to China. And we want to increase this export on a preferential basis. because that give our farmers a better, better income.
And so that would mean not going through a third country.
Yeah, not going to a third country. Yeah, because currently the third country we use is through Vietnam, or Senegal, and through China, Senegal to China. But with these preferences, if we are successful, to get through it, and then we'll be able to export directly to the Chinese market without going to any other country. And that's a huge benefit for
the... Now, you mentioned at the start there that this has been around since 2005.
Yes.
So I know, but I suspect the viewers might be thinking, well, why now? Has it been? We know, but I just wondered if you.
The market is lucrative. The market is big, but the custom procedures, the processes to get there is not an easy way. It requires a lot. A lot of hard work. A lot of processes that you have to go through. Your institutions also matters. For example, the quality of our quality infrastructure is very important.
Was this also one of those deals that suffered when we broke relations and normalized relations with Taiwan? Because I think that must have had
the time we had relationship. Well, this was 2005.
Yeah, quite.
At that time, we had a relationship with Taiwan.
Yeah.
Then it could not be extended to us. That is automatic.
Yeah.
Because these are they call unilateral preferences. It's the country that will wish to extend it to you, because you don't reciprocate. You don't give anything in exchange. All what you give in exchange is a diplomatic relationship.
Sure.
If you have a good diplomatic relationship, then you can enjoy it. But if you don't have that, there is no way that you can. And even if it's given to you, for example, if Gambia decide that we'll go back to Taiwan, whatever gains that we have achieved, in getting to that level, it will automatically be lost. Because it means that China will no longer see Gambia, as a friendly country.
Sure.
Yeah. Then these are some of the challenges that you have.
Okay.
And the other, as I said, the process is usually very long, very rigorous. Because the requirements, particularly in terms of the custom procedures.
Well, I was going to come to that, because we're all excited that this has been signed and that it's now going to be implemented. And then everybody's asking, how soon can we start to benefit from this when all the modalities are in place? What can we expect?
Yeah, this is not the first time we signed. In 2018, we signed what we call letter of exchange.
Yes.
Did kickstart the process of admitting into the scheme.
Sure.
But unfortunately, as we are going through the process, the COVID also happened. Sure. That is 2 years later. That was COVID, and which delays all the process, because the process can take you up to about 2 years.
Right.
To go through the process. Then now, and at the time we signed in 2018, it was 97% of the tariff lines.
Sure.
But now, as our relationship with China improves, this time we signed the letter of exchange cover about 98% of the tariff line. Okay. That's about 8,000, 8,000 tariff lines that are covered.
Okay.
Which is huge than the previous one.
Sure.
Yes, and now the process is that they have to send a team here, from their customs, from Chinese customs. They have to send a team. The team will come and look at our various processes, our institutions, and see and assess them.
Okay.
And to find out whether they are ready, to be able to access to support the export to the Chinese market.
Okay.
And if there are weaknesses also, we'll work with them trying to address those weaknesses, until, we are able to go through all the entire process. Okay. Yes.
Yes, I think part of the benefits to also involve women and youth.
Yes.
Yes, so could you elaborate on that, how women and youth are going to benefit from this?
Yeah, because if you look at our agriculture, we have a sizable number of women you know, that are involved in it. And the export, majority of our export, you know, constitute agricultural produce. You know, which means that having such a ready market, you know, will help women that are into agriculture,
Right, okay.
you know, to be able to export, you know, their produce to the Chinese market. And this time, you know, it's going to be on duty-free, quota-free.
Yes.
Duty-free, you know, it's not only duty-free, but also quota-free, which means that you can export any amount.
Yeah, got it.
You are not restricted. You can export any amount to the Chinese market. And there is nothing that we can produce that will fill the Chinese market.
Exactly.
Even one province of China, there is no way that we can, you know, we can exhaust that market, you know.
And also, most of these women live in the rural Gambia, and sometimes they are not very aware of these things are happening. So how do you ensure that they are put in picture and they know really
The ones
this
who are supposed beneficiaries.
Yeah, exactly. How do they know that these things are happening?
Yeah, you know, if you look at agriculture recently, it's changing and it's changing fast. Because now we are moving from this subsistence agriculture to a more commercialized agriculture.
Sure.
And we have a lot of players, you know, commercial players in agriculture. Probably the farmers may not actually access the market directly,
Right.
you know, but we have commercial farmers that are like the big farmers that are working, you know, with these small farmers, and they can be the aggregators,
Right.
trade aggregators,
Okay, yes.
you know, buying from these women and the youths and exporting directly to the market. Because you also have to have certain level of volume.
I was going to say,
yeah, to
volume
be able to
with-
export.
You know, somebody who's
Yeah.
got a single farm or a
Yeah,
single
yeah,
garden
yeah.
is not going to be able to directly
Yeah,
benefit.
it was
possibly.
recently we've seen a lot of Gambians who are interested in farming,
Sure.
and some of them are investing in big time.
Including some of our
Yeah.
people in our control.
Yes, then yes, if our QTV is one of the farmers now,
Yes, indeed. Certainly.
then you see, then groups like that, or investors like that, you know, can easily buy from the farmers, you know, and export it, and export to the Chinese market. And cashew is also one of the products that they are interested in, because we were there almost about 2 months ago. You know, whatever you think of, Chinese wants it.
Yeah.
You know, then
I-
whatever you produce,
Yeah.
they can easily buy.
I mean, one of
from
the
you.
things, you mentioned things like cashew, you mentioned groundnut, mangoes. A lot of what we, almost 99% of what we export in those things are not processed
Yes.
here.
Yeah.
It's the raw product. Does this deal include, if the possibility somebody in the Gambia opens a processing plant to process cashew,
Yeah,
process groundnut, process mango in it, does that also capture this?
Yes, because like cashew,
Yeah.
we know the Indian market is mainly of non-processed
Yeah, quite.
cashew.
Yeah.
That is mainly for raw materials,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
India controls almost about 60% of the,
Yeah, quite.
you know, the cashew market, processed cashew markets, you know, around the globe. But Chinese, whether processed or not processed, they can buy.
Right.
Yes, yes, it's not limited. It has to be a process or it has to be a raw materials or no. It's open.
Okay.
You know, as long as you have the products to export, you can export. And processed cashew will be of an advantage, because China is a highly, you know, increasing middle income
Well, indeed. yeah.
country, and you know, when countries, the middle income class is increasing, you know, there are certain products that people opt for,
That's right.
you know, like cashew, you know, because these are high value products. you know,
Exactly,
yeah,
yes.
and you can easily set up a cashew processing plant here and export to China,
Sure.
you know, very easily when we are able to go through the scheme.
Now, I know we've kind of danced around the timeline because, as you said, it's a long process.
Yeah,
They
it's
have to
a-
send a
yes,
team here.
yes.
Do we also send a team to China, or is it that because they're the ones who will be, in fact, importing from us,
Yes.
that they have to send a team here to see, you know, are we up to it? Can we deliver?
Yeah, because it's more of a quality, you know, assessment process.
yeah.
You know, that's why they are sending the team.
Sure.
And also, they will also want our custom authority to understand, you know, the Chinese procedures.
Sure.
You know, the market requirements, what are the processes that are involved if you want to export, what are the forms and things like that. Sure. And we also have, there is also a designated national authority, like food safety.
Right. Okay.
That is the national authority. Then all the food export has to pass through them, so that they certify that it satisfied all the requirements of the market, where they are going, particularly Chinese market. Well, they are the national authority.
Okay,
yes.
We're almost at the end of time, but there's one thing which came up when we were discussing this in the office, and this is the fact that is there a danger that if this is found to be very, very lucrative, these products, all of what we produce ends up going to, as you said, even if we sent everything that we could produce, we'd still not be absorbed by the Chinese market because the market is so huge. Is there a possibility, is there a threat that, or are we going to impose, make sure that at least some of these products
remains here?
Yes. Because the temptation would be great.
Yes, what we want is the farmers to make a choice.
Of course.
What they are producing, what's the best market, that they could find. Yeah. Because that will also give them the best income.
Yeah, exactly.
If you have the income, you can buy whatever you want to buy.
Right.
And we know also if there is markets in the Gambia, they will also still have to sell it to the Gambian.
Sure.
Gambian markets. But what is our interest is to open it up.
Of course.
To ensure that they have choices to make.
Sure.
Whether to sell it to Gambia or to sell it to China, any market that will give them the best income. That is our aim. Sure. Because we want to transform the agricultural sector, from a low income, sector to a high income sector.
Sure.
So that you don't need to have this huge, number of the population engaged in agriculture. In an advanced economy, you will have less than 3% of the population that are engaged in agriculture, because that percentage can grow a lot.
Sure.
Like in America, less than 3% that can be able to feed the whole. In EU and Asia,
Okay, thank you for that, and that really is very, very good. And just to say, Mr. Lamin Damfa, thank you for joining us. Thank you for explaining in such brilliant detail about this deal, and we look forward to benefiting from it. And that just leaves for me to say goodbye, and for my colleague Lolly Kamara to also say goodbye.
Yes.
And until we come your way again next, which is tomorrow. Bye for now. Goodbye.